Alright, we are back with a new video, and I know recently I did a Borneo Brantsteele, but I decided, you know what, that was fun. Why don't we try it again? So this time I decided to do a Brantsteele for the Australian Outback, and as we can see, we have the original cast here. We have Kucha and Ogakor. One thing I realized last time that I messed up was I accidentally let the reasoning and targets off, so I decided to turn those on. And I also turned relationship highlights on. But yeah, we're basically gonna simulate the season, see if we can change history at all. For those that were here last time, we did change quite a bit from the Borneo brand seal. But anyway, we have the cast here. Let's dive right in. Right. All right, so here on Kucha, we have Nick feeling a slight dislike towards Scoopin. We have Kimmy and Deb feel mutual slight dislike towards one another. Okay. Kimmy and Alicia don't like each other. Deb and Alicia bond slightly. All right, I guess they both don't like Kimmy, I guess. Roger and Deb are bonding a bit. Makes sense. They're two of the older people in this tribe. Varner's bonding with Deb. Wow, Deb has having quite a bit of bonds here. Scoopin doesn't like Nick. Deb likes Nick. Um, yeah, Nick doesn't like Scoopin. Interesting there. Yep, Scoopin doesn't like Nick. Yeah, yep. All right. All right. On Oak Core, Tina and Mitchell don't like each other. Tina doesn't like Colby. Uh, Mad Dog and Keith like each other a bit. Jerry doesn't like Kel. Makes sense. Tina and Jerry are kind of liking each other. Mitchell doesn't like Mad Dog. Colby doesn't like Tina. Interesting there. Keith and Amber are bonding slightly. Oh man, this is a lot. Kel and Colby like each other, and Keith and Colby don't like each other. So it's kind of like the real life scenario. All right, we have our first challenge. It's kind of like the Quest for Fire, and as we can see here, Ogakor wins. They win 50 waterproof matches, which is lovely. So back at camp, we have some events. Deb and Roger bond slightly. Kimmy and Scoopin find something in common. Deb and Nick bond slightly. Interesting there. And we have our first alliance of Deb, Nick, and Roger. Interesting there. So let's see, targets. Kimmy's targeting Nick. She considers Nick a challenge liability. Interesting there. Elizabeth considers Kimmy a challenge liability. Interesting there. Roger considers Scoopin a challenge liability. So we have a lot of challenge liabilities here. And we have Kucha, so the Deb, Nick, Roger alliance want to vote out Kimmy, and the alliance and faction targets finalized. Okay, so it's either going to be Kimmy or Scoopin. All right. Over in Ogakor, Amber and Kel have a major fight. Oh boy, I wonder what that was about. Probably over beef jerky, I guess. Mad Dog and Mitchell have a minor disagreement. Okay. I would think Mitchell would have gone along with Mad Dog a bit more, but that's just me. But anyway, let's get the tribal Kucha. So we already know that it's either going to be Kimmy or Scoopin. I'm going to say Kimmy, I guess. She seems like the more likely first boot here. But let's see. It's time to read the votes. First vote, Scoopin. Kimmy, 1-1. Kimmy, 2-1. Kimmy, 3-1. Kimmy, 4-1. And the first person voted out of Australian Outback, Kimmy. And it was unanimous. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me too much. Yep, it was unanimous here. Okay. Personal preference among the targets. Okay. Yep, they were just voting with the alliance. But all right, that's an interesting first round. I mean, not too surprising there. Here are the people still in the game. And let's move on to episode 2. All right, so we still have that Deb, Nick, Roger alliance. Deb has a medium bond towards Nick. Nick has a bond towards Deb. Uh, Roger and Deb have a mutual bond. So not much between Roger and Nick. Interesting there. Deb seems like the center of this group a bit. Nick doesn't like Varner. Interesting. Roger and Varner bond a bit. Um, Varner and Deb bond a bit. Interesting. So a lot of people bonding with Deb. Good for her. Nick and Alicia are bonding. Nick and Scoopin don't like each other. Deb and Alicia like each other a bit, and Scoopin and Varner like each other. Oh boy, I wonder what they talk about. Um, so over in Okacore, Kel and Amber still don't like each other. Mitchell and Mad Dog still don't like each other. Mad Dog doesn't like Amber. Tina doesn't like Colby, or they don't like each other, I should say. Kel and Colby like each other a bit. Makes sense. They're both from Texas. Mad Dog and Keith like each other. I can see that. Tina and Mitchell don't like each other. Mad Dog and Kel don't like each other. Tina and Jerry like each other, and Kel and Jerry don't like each other. Makes sense there. All right. Time for the reward challenge. This time Kucha wins. They win some blankets. That'll be helpful in the Outback. In the immunity challenge, the all important that Okacore wins immunity again. Interesting. So here we have Kucha going back to tribal. All right, over on Kucha, Elizabeth and Nick have a small fight. All right. Interesting. So now we have this six-person alliance where we still have the Deb, Nick, and Roger sort of being the core of it, except now they've also pulled in Scoopin, Varner, and Alicia. All right. Deb is targeting Elizabeth. Elizabeth considers man. A lot of people are challenging. A lot of people consider each other challenge liabilities here, so that's interesting. I guess they keep losing, so that makes sense. So the core of this group wants Elizabeth voted out. Yep, and they want Elizabeth voted out too. And Elizabeth's targeting Alicia. So, all right, I think there should be a pretty foregone conclusion there. Over in Core, Kel and Mad Dog have a major fight. I guess she found out that he's been eating beef jerky. Well, with that, let's get to the vote. All right, this should be pretty clear. Elizabeth boot here. I mean, we already know that the rest of the tribe's in alliance against her, but let's see what happens. So, time to read the votes. First vote, Alicia, Elizabeth 2-1, Elizabeth 3-1. And the second person voted out of Australian Outback is Elizabeth. All right. Yep, another unanimous vote. Not gonna lie, this isn't as interesting. Like, got two unanimous votes in a row. Not super duper interesting. Well, with that, let's get to episode 3. Here we have the people still in the game. So on Kucha, we still have this core. We have this group here. Let's just hope they don't lose another challenge. Relationships. Nick and Deb like each other. Roger and Deb like each other. Roger and Varner like each other a bit. Scoopin and Deb like each other. Nick and Scoopin don't like each other. Yep, Roger and Nick don't like it. Man, a lot of people don't like Nick. Varner and Deb like each other. Nick and Alicia like each other. That's something. Scoopin and Varner like each other, and Deb and Alicia like each other a bit. All right. So that's on Kucha, and on Ogakor, Mad Dog and Kel have extreme hatred towards one another. Oh wow. So I guess that fight was a lot bigger than it seemed. Okay. Kel and Amber don't like each other, that's nothing new. Mitchell and Mad Dog still don't like each other. Um Tina and Mitchell don't like each other. Mad Dog and Keith. Yep. I feel like these are largely the same as before. Yep. I mean, Tina and Keith don't like each other. That's something new, at least. But anyway, let's get to the reward challenge where Kucha wins. They win fishing gear. Useful. But the all important immunity challenge awaits, and the winner of that is Kucha. So good for them. They finally won a challenge, or at least an immunity challenge. Alright, so let's see what happens there. So Alicia and Scoopin have a small fight, and Roger works hard and becomes tired. Okay. But over at Okacore, we have Amber and Colby bond slightly. Keith and Mitchell find something in common. Mad Dog is targeting Kel, makes sense there. Kel is targeting Mad Dog. Colby is targeting Tina. Tina is targeting Mitchell. Keith is targeting Jerry. So, alright, this seems like it's going to be a bit of a train wreck, this vote. But it seems to be between Mitchell and Kel. We'll see how these all go. Time to get the tribal. I would assume Kel gets voted out here, as in the real life scenario, he was the first voted out of Ogre. But let's see what happens. Alright, first vote. Mitchell. Kel, 1 vote each. Kel, 2 votes Kel. 3 votes Kel. 4 votes Kel. Alright, one more. Nope, Mitchell. So 4-2. 4-3. Are we going to get a tie here? Nope. Kel's voted out 5-3. Interesting. So let's see what the votes were here. So we have, Amber, Kel, and Tina voted for Mitchell. Interesting there. She was kind of outside the majority. Everyone else voted for Kel. We have Colby, Jerry, Keith, Mad Dog, and Mitchell. Alright, well, that's something. Alright, episode 4 now. Alright, we still have our core group here, Deb, Nick, and Roger. Relationships, I mean, Roger doesn't like Alicia. Alicia doesn't like Roger. Okay. Scoop and Alicia don't like each other. Man, it seems like Alicia, I mean, well, Deb likes her, I guess, but it seems like people are kind of falling out with her a bit, I would think. Let's just see the other tribe. So in Ogakor, Mitchell and Keith have a bond. Mitchell and Maryland, it's down to a medium dislike. Interesting. Not too much news seems to be happening here. I mean, makes sense. Interesting. So the reward challenge happens and Ogakor wins. Interesting. And they win live chickens. Good for them. But the all-important immunity challenge happens, and Ogakor has a bounce back. So once again, we're having Kucha going to Tribal Council, where this Kumbaya alliance seems to be cracking. It'll be interesting to see whether this core holds. So first up, Nick and Alicia have a major fight. Alicia's targeting Roger. Scoopin's targeting Nick. Roger's targeting Alicia. Deb's targeting Varner for some reason. Interesting. Interesting. So the core is targeting Varner here. Okay, so it's going to be down between Roger and Varner. Okay. And on Ogre Core, Mad Dog's impressing the rest of the team. Amber and Mitchell seem to be bonding a bit. And we finally have our first alliance form with Amber, Jerry, Keith, Mad Dog, and Mitchell. You know, this is kind of like the real life scenario a bit, where Obviously, we had Amber, Jerry, and Mitchell in alliance. And then they also had Colby until the flip happened in episode 4, I believe, where they flipped the game on Mitchell, and really that Jerry and Amber contingent of Ogre allowing the Tina and Colby to run the game. But that's not about them. This is about Kucha, and we're going to get the tribal now. So, I would assume Varner's getting voted out here. I mean, I would assume this core holds. I feel like Nick is probably incentivized to stick with this core, but we'll see what happens. So, first vote, Roger. Varner. Roger. Varner, we're tied. Roger, that's 3 votes, Roger. 2 votes, Jeff. And we have a tie. Great. Alright, so on the revote, Varner. Roger. Varner. And the 4th person voted out is Varner. See ya. Alright, so interesting. So okay, so Alicia flipped her vote here. She did it to avoid a deadlock here. Makes sense. But this core held together, I believe. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, so Alicia flipped. Alright. Episode 5. So here we have our alliance still. Okay. Roger really doesn't like Alicia at this point. Interesting stuff there. Nick and Deb have a bit of a strong bond going on with them. Alicia really doesn't like Roger, even though she technically saved him in the last tribal, but whatever. Roger and Scoopin don't like each other. Nick and Alicia don't like each other. Yep. Okay. Alright, Ogakor. We still have this 5-person alliance holding together, but Mad Dog has a strong bond towards Colby. And Mitchell's bonding with Keith. Alright, we're getting Mitchell kind of forming some bonds here. Amber's getting into some of this action over there. Well, Amber's getting a lot of love here. Yeah, even Colby's getting in on, and Keith. It seems like everyone likes Amber right now. Interesting stuff there. So the reward challenge. Okay. And Ogakor wins. They win toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, and 2 items chosen from a catalog. Okay. But who cares about that stuff if you don't win immunity? And so we get to the immunity challenge, and the winner is Kucha. So good for them. They're managing to hold on and really prove themselves here. So in Kucha, Roger leaves the alliance. Interesting. I guess Alicia just was too much for him. Meanwhile, on Ogakor, Keith and Tina have a small fight. So Colby is targeting Jerry, considers her a challenge liability. Keith considers Colby somewhat weak. Not too weak, just somewhat weak. Mitchell doesn't like Tina. And this alliance is going after Tina, so that's not good. Alright, Colby, Tina are the 2 targets. Alright, and now we get to Tribal Council, where I feel like Tina will be voted out. But let's see what happens. So, first vote, Colby. Tina, 1 vote each. Tina, 2 votes Tina. 3 votes Tina. Yep, Tina got voted out here, and it was unanimous. Interesting. So we saw Keith was targeting Colby at a point, but I guess he just decided to change his mind. Yep, he just voted with the Alliance here, so that checks out. Alright, so we're getting quite a bit of changes from the actual show here, so this should be good. And now we have episode 6. This is the last episode of the pre-merge, and I believe this was the episode on the show where Scoopin fell in the fire, so hopefully none of that happens here, right? So despite Roger leaving like the big alliance, he still has his core. Like, we saw this four-person group here. Nick and Deb feel an unbreakable relationship towards each other. Yep, it's towards each other. Roger and Alicia really don't like each other. Roger and Scoopin have a medium dislike for each other, not too bad. Alicia and Nick don't like each other. Roger and Nick don't like each other. Yep. Right, on Okacore, we have the five-person group. Mad Dog is very close to Colby, even though he's not in the alliance. Um, yep, Mitchell and Keith like each other. Mad Dog. Yep, we still have Amber kind of being in the middle of things with. She has a lot of small bonds, so like I don't feel like she has anything too major outside of Mad Dog, so that's something. Alright, so the reward challenge. Um Oh, so Kucha wins this challenge, kind of like the real life scenario. And I always remember how at the end of this one, Colby just dumped a bunch of water into Jerry. Like, Colby was kind of a douchebag in Australian Outback. Like, I feel like Jerry kind of got this villainous edit when really she wasn't that bad. I mean, she was loyal to her alliance, and like she just liked Colby. It was just Colby didn't like her, and that caused her to get this ridiculous villainous at it. But Cucho wins the challenge like the real life scenario, and they win a feast of Mountain Dew and Doritos or Doritos. Oh yeah, Tina's not in the game, but it doesn't matter because Okacore wins immunity again. So over on Kucha, Elisa is impressing the rest of the team, but it's not enough to impress Roger, who is now determined to vote her out. And no blood love is lost there, as Alicia is targeting Roger. In his core is targeting Alicia too, makes sense. But Alicia's alliance is voting for Roger. So interesting. So Deb and Nick are in both of these alliances here. So that'll be interesting to see who wins out here. Though I guess Roger isn't as loyal, I guess. So let's get the tribal. Ogakor first. So Colby and Jerry have a major fight. That doesn't surprise me too much there. We have a new alliance form with Amber, Colby, and Mad Dog. Makes sense there. They all kind of like each other. And with that, let's get the tribal council, where we have 5 people here. I would think Roger gets voted out here. I mean, while he does have his group, I feel like Deb and Nick feel more determined to stick with the rest of the group to ensure their future in the game. But let's see what happens. So, first vote, Alicia, Roger, Roger, Alicia. Right, 2 votes each, 1 vote left. And the 6th person voted out of Australian Outback is Alicia. Interesting. So let's just look at the votes here. Wow, so Roger's core stuck together. They stuck with him. Interesting stuff there. Yeah, so that three is really kind of riding each other at this point. Makes sense. But it doesn't matter anymore because we have the merge. Gosh darn it. So let's get to the merge. We now have Barramundi. So let's just take a look here. We have Amber, Colby, Deb, Jerry, Keith, Mad Dog, Scoopin, Mitchell, Nick, and Roger. So we have 4 pre-merge boots here compared to 6 merge people. So that's interesting. So we'll see what happens there. Right out the bat, we still have this alliance here. Um, wait, why is it like that? That's weird. So it basically just has the same alliance. Oh, well, he's scooping. I didn't see that. So Deb and Nick are kind of in the middle of things. I mean, they could go either way between Scoopin and Roger, although I feel like the four of them have an incentive to work together in this case. We have this Oga Core alliance that's bigger, more unified. It has a core within it with Jerry and Jerry, Keith, and Mitchell. Yeah, well, actually, Cole is not in it. So, but Amber and Mad Dog are kind of the center of things, and we have some relationships here. I mean, not a ton of cross tribal stuff happening. I mean, well, yeah, I feel like all this has just been like people sticking to their own groups. Makes me feel like a Bagongi might happen, I think. Oh, we get an immunity challenge where Colby wins his first immunity challenge. Alright, back at camp, Jerry and Mad Dog have a minor disagreement. Jerry and Nick bond slightly. Alright, so that's something. There's at least some cross tribal bonds happening. Colby doesn't like Jerry. Roger doesn't like Scoopin. Alright, not a good idea, but okay. Keith doesn't like Deb. Amber has a slightly negative opinion of Roger. Okay. So going into this vote, we have Deb, Nick, and Roger targeting Amber. We have Deb, Scoopin, and Nick targeting Keith. And we have all the Ogre cores targeting Nick. Okay. Alright, and with that, we get to the vote where the Ogre cores have a 6-4 majority, if I'm counting that correctly. I would think Nick goes home here. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, he is kind of an integral piece of this Kucha alliance or this Kucha power structure, but we'll see how it happens. Colby has a immunity necklace. Okay. Time to vote. All right. First vote Nick, Amber, Nick, Keith. So 2-2-2-1-1. Nick, that's 3-1-1. Keith, 3-2-1. Um, Nick 4-2-1. Keith 4-3-1. Yep, Nick went home. Nick went home. So yeah, it looks like I'm gonna assume all the Okakors voted together. Well, yep, they all voted together. And it seems like the Kuchas couldn't quite get their act together. I mean, we have Roger. Yeah, so it seems like most of the Kuchas voted for Nick, but Roger, for whatever reason, voted for Amber. So that was kind of a weird vote there. Episode 8, we're now at the final 9. Okay, so now Deb's kind of in a weaker position now that she's lost Nick, but I'm not too worried yet. I mean, although she could be taken out next, I mean, it would probably be in the best interest of these Ogre to do so. Yep, they sell their core. Though Mad Dog has an unbreakable bond with Colby, Roger and Scoopin feel mutual extreme hatred towards one another. Oh my god, so bad. Keith was really bonding with Mitchell. Again, there's not too much cross tribal stuff happening here. Yeah, this is kind of boring. All right, reward challenge. Jerry wins his reward. So this is the Boomerang challenge. So didn't Jerry win this in the real life one? I think she did. And she shares the reward with Amber. Yeah, I think this is what happened in the real life scenario. I think. Yeah, I think it is. So That's interesting. But it doesn't matter because Scoopin wins immunity. Okay, back at camp. Deb and Jerry bond strongly. Oh, alright, so that's interesting there. We have more cross-travel stuff. Jerry and Mitchell have a small fight, but it doesn't matter because Jerry leaves the Alliance, probably. So are they doing that? Did you do that because they're targeting Deb? I had to wonder. So Jerry doesn't like Colby, makes sense. Michael extremely despises Roger. Colby doesn't like Keith. Amber doesn't like Deb. Wait, didn't they like each other? Oh, no. I'm getting confused. Deb doesn't like Mad Dog. Deb and Roger are targeting Mad Dog. Deb and Scoopin, though, are targeting Keith. And the Ogre Cores are targeting Deb. But the core of Amber, Mad Dog, and Colby are targeting Jerry. So we have 3 potential targets here. Who knows what's going to happen here? So I would think Deb would go home here. I mean, it would be kind of dumb for Jerry to go here, but let's see what happens. Yep. So first vote, Mad Dog. Mad Dog. Jerry. Jerry. Keith 221. Jerry 321. Keith 322. And Jerry is done. Okay, let's take a look at the votes. So Amber voted for Jerry right after she took her for the reward. Colby voted for Jerry. Deb voted for Mad Dog. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems like Jerry just tried to flip, but then the Ogre punished her for that. But the Ogre still have a 5-3 majority here, so I guess we'll see what happens. Yep, so we still have the usual alliances here. Roger and Scoopin still hate each other. Mad Dog and Colby like each other a lot. Mitchell and Keith like each other a lot. Mitchell and Mad Dog kind of like each other. Yep, Amber still has quite a few connections, actually. That's interesting. So we have this reward challenge. Interesting. So, okay, so we have all these pairs. Who wins this? Oh, it doesn't say. But Scoopin wins immunity. Okay, so he's kind of on a roll here. Back at camp, Keith and Mitchell find something in common. Roger's impressing the rest of the team. Colby and Keith bond strongly. So here we're getting another deviation from the real life scenario. I guess Keith is proving his worth more now. So that's interesting. But going into this vote, Deb and Scoopin dissolve. They're no longer in an alliance. Meanwhile, Scoopin kind of flips over to the Ogre side of things and really builds his alliance with Keith and Mitchell. Interesting alliance there. But going into the vote, we have Mitchell not liking Colby. We have Deb having a slight negative opinion of Keith. We have Keith has a slight negative opinion about Deb. So Deb and Roger are targeting Colby, while the Okacore Alliance is targeting Roger. The core, I guess, is targeting Roger. And this cross-tribal alliance is targeting Colby. Alright, so it's Colby or Roger. Alright, so we'll see what happens. So, yep, once again, Scuba has immunity. First vote. Roger. Roger, 2 votes Roger. 2-1. We're tied 2-2. Roger, 3-2. Colby, 3-3. We're tied again. Roger, 4-3. Could we get a tie? Nope. Roger's done. Okay. So, what do we have here? So it looks like Amber, Colby, Keith, Mad Dog, and Mitchell voted together, while Roger, Scoopin, and Deb voted together. So interesting. All right, now we're down to the final 7. All right. Yep, we have our alliances as usual. Nothing too much has changed, I feel like. All right, we're having the Survivor auction now. All right. So Keith wins 4 tortilla chips and a bowl of salsa. Deb wins peanut butter and chocolate. Amber wins a glass of Mountain Dew. Colby wins 3 cracker sandwiches. Keith wins 1 slice of Supreme Pizza. Colby wins mini Oreos and a glass of milk. Mad Dog wins pretzels and a bottle of beer. Keith wins 6 french fries and a side of ranch. That's kind of gross. Amber wins iced coffee and a chocolate peanut butter energy bar. Scoopin wins mashed potatoes, turkey, bread, green beans, and cranberry sauce. Right. Mad Dog wins a glass of river water. And Scoopin wins a cheeseburger. Okay. Yeah, I think when a lot of people think about the Australian Outback auction, like it's really stingy. Like, I mean, some of these are kind of ridiculous, like just how few food they're getting. It's like really you couldn't afford anything better. But it is Survivor, I guess, so whatever. Then Mad Dog wins immunity. All right, yeah, this is the fire making challenge that Colby won. So that's interesting that Mad Dog won it. I could actually see her winning that, so makes sense. All right, back at camp, Amber works hard and becomes tired. Colby is targeting Scoopin. Mitchell doesn't like Colby. Keith has a slight negative opinion of Deb. The Okakor Alliance is targeting Deb. But they're also kind of targeting Scoopin. But the Barramundi Alliance is targeting Colby. So yeah, so I guess they're targeting Scoopin because Scoopin's getting in on. He's trying to peel away Keith and Mitchell here. Like I guess Amber and Mad Dog don't like that. So seems like we have a bit of a battle going on between Scoopin and Keith, between Scoopin and what have you. Well, let's see what happens. So for first vote, Scoopin. Scoopin, 2 votes Scoopin. Colby, 2-1. Colby, 2-2. Deb, 2-2-1. Deb, 2-2-2. Wow, we have a 3-way tie. And the 10th person voted out of Survivor, and the 3rd member of the jury is Scoopin. Wow. So yeah, I mean, Amber is here to play. I mean, she really didn't like Scoopin getting in on their business, so she took care of that. Yep, so pretty much interesting. So Keith and Mitchell voted for Deb, probably under Scoopin's orders, even though Scoopin himself voted for Colby. Man, Brantsteeles are weird. Alright, now we're down to the final 6, where we have this. Yep, we still have these alliances for the most part. Yeah, I feel like nothing has really changed all that much. Mitchell wins a horseback ride with food and beer, an overnight stay at a cot, and a breakfast at Outback Cowboy Camp. Oh boy, so this is the episode where they had like the big flood and they lost all their food and like their shelter and stuff. And so Mitchell kind of dodges a bullet here. but Colby wins immunity. Yeah, he didn't he, yeah, I think he won this one in the real life too, like because this was at the point where he was kind of on a roll here. So there's that. Back at camp, Amber and Keith bond slightly. Amber has a slight negative opinion of Deb. Colby likes Keith, but is least aligned with him. Okay. The Ogakor Alliance is targeting Deb, but so they're unified in voting out Deb. Even Keith and Mitchell are voting out Deb. So, yep, looks like Deb might be going home here as the last remaining original Kucha here. So let's read. First vote, Deb, Keith, Deb. Yep, it was unanimous. So that was kind of a boring vote, but now it's just these Ogakors having to turn on each other. This should be interesting. And I can't believe, like, it's so dumb too how like Australian Outback like really padded out its season to where they had like an entire episode just for the final four when it was like one like a very boring final four scenario where it's like, okay, they're just gonna vote out Elizabeth. Great. But anyway, let's get into these groups. Yep. Okay. Colby wins a reward. He wins a 30-minute chat session with family and a $500 internet shopping spree to buy gifts for them. Okay. And he wins immunity again. Yep, this is the folklore challenge. Makes sense that he would win that as he won it in the real life scenario. Back at camp, Colby's targeting Mitchell. Mad Dog has a slight negative opinion of Keith. Um, the alliance must turn on each other. Oh yeah, it makes sense. Yep, but this core wants Keith out. So I'm guessing Keith goes? Okay, let's see what happens. First vote, Keith, Mad Dog. The 12th person voted out of Australian Outback, Mad Dog. Interesting. So, what happened here? So, Amber, Keith, and Mitchell voted for Mad Dog. Interesting. Very interesting. And with that, we get to our final four. We have two people from our original final four, Colby and Keith. We have Amber, who obviously was in sixth, but has experience being in the final four, so there's that. And we have Mitchell, who was the fourth boot on the actual season. Interesting. Okay, so we have these alliances still. And yeah, like we have. So it seems like on the outset that Colby's kind of on the outs here. He's kind of in a position where he needs to win out. But at the same time, he has his relationship with Amber, while Mitchell and Keith are kind of a duo. They kind of been that way for a while. So we'll see what happens here. Yep. Keith wins a meal in a Pontiac Aztec to sleep in overnight. And I'm guessing he got his mom to visit as well. And I wonder how that went. Could you imagine if Keith had won that car reward and like I mean even with Colby it was really awkward, but yeah, that would be interesting. And Keith wins immunity. Interesting. He won the memory challenge. Alright. So back at camp, Colby rests to restore his energy. Colby doesn't like Mitchell. Mitchell considers Colby wait. So Mitchell is targeting Colby because he considers Colby a small threat? Okay, that's kind of weird logic there. Um so yeah, I would assume that Colby's getting voted out here. But let's see. Colby, Colby, Mitchell, Colby. Yep, that wasn't too surprising there. But now we get to the finale. Amber, Keith, and Mitchell. Obviously the final three that everyone wanted, right? Nothing too exciting there. So this is interesting. So everyone has an unbreakable bond with each other. So it's pretty much a crapshoot at this point, right? Keith wins immunity. Huh. So okay, so Keith goes to the end. Like, who does he take? I mean, does he take? I mean, he should be taking Mitchell, I would think, right? I mean, I feel like Amber has the better relationships on the jury, so like she would. Yep. Woo-hoo. Well, great. How helpful. So we get to the vote. Yep, Amber got voted out. That's not too surprising there. And so we get the final two that everyone wanted of Keith versus Mitchell. Interesting. So let's read the votes. I mean, I would think Mitchell wins. I think, but I don't know. What do I know? But anyway, so let's read the votes. Mitchell, Keith, we're tied. Keith, 2 votes, Keith. Mitchell, 2-2. Keith, 3-2. Keith, 4-2. Oh, so Keith wins 5-2. Well, I mean, considering he did make the final three in the actual show, I mean, not too unreasonable, but still, it's Keith. So everyone except Scoopin and Mad Dog voted for Keith, which makes sense. Interesting stuff. Mad Dog wins the fan favorite award. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I would imagine that if Mad Dog had made a deep run on the actual show, that I feel like more people might have liked her. I feel like the show could have portrayed her in a more positive light through that. Like she could have been like this old lady that made it kind of like a female Rupert Rudy from Borneo. Yep, Keith won. So look at this. Wow. Okay. So let's look at the challenges. So Colby won 3 immunities, still the most out of anyone there. Keith Scoopin won 2. Mad Dog won 1. Um, Roger got the most votes against him with 11. Colby got the most votes against with 9. Okay. Deb was the most strategic. Interesting stuff. Colby was the next most, and so was Mitchell. All right, I can live with that. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, again, like this was fun doing it. Like, I mean, I'll probably do more of these in the future. Like, I mean, they're fun to do. I mean, plus it's fun to talk about Survivor. You know, I can speculate or try to imagine like if this had actually happened. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really had. Like another fun Brantsteele. Like obviously, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. I have like more scripted stuff coming out soon. But for now, that is the video. See ya.